tonight I thought I would share with you my love for color, actually. So I don't know if a lot of you know, some of my friends know, but I spent a good 20 years painting in the film industry, and I did a fine art degree at Rhodes. And painting was just my first love. It really was my first love before yoga even. So it was something that really innately came to me. So having finished my degree at Rhodes, I landed up freelance painting for a couple of years, found myself in the film industry, and it's actually what I always wanted. I always wanted people to be able to walk into my paintings. Which really translates to film sets. So I loved and adored it. And one of the things we did a lot as a scenic painter, I mean, you paint all the surfaces, floors, walls, ceilings, and then get onto furniture. But you know, it was making one surface look like another, and a lot of the time you're mixing color. So I got really, you know, and I feel color, I sense it, and you know, color has a vibration to it. So on the road to painting over the years, I found myself, I remember this quite clearly, how I started and found myself in studying Aurasoma was, I would look in my cupboard and think, oh, I need to like put on orange today, you know, and I remember that day I didn't have anything. I wanted a specific kind of orange. I didn't have any burnt orange. I was like, but I must wear orange. Then there were times where I would be quite like repulsed by colors. Like I couldn't go near pink for a long time. Hello Tato, so nice to see you. So friends are joining in the house. And then, you know, months would pass and a color that I really was repelling against, really drawn to, and I could put it on and it could feel amazing. And I thought to myself, there must be something in this. And I mean, there obviously is. And I know that color has a lot of power. And I don't know how it all worked, but, you know, I think where you, and I know this to be true, and I say this often in my yoga classes, where you put your attention is where you get attention. And it's the same for anything in life. You know, if you put your attention onto an illness, you're going to draw that towards you. If you put your attention onto a fear, you'll draw that towards you. If you put your attention onto really good things and wanting to manifest something or an interest in something, and within days of this, like, I really wanted to have color, I had somebody introduce to me Aurasoma, which was the study of color, color therapy. I'll just simplify it by that. And for me, there was something incredibly familiar about it. I did 2 short courses, and it really just, it confirmed my innate understanding and reading of color. I remember when I was at varsity, one of our exams, I'm going to fly in all sorts of directions, but I'll come back to the thread as I do. I did a fine art degree at Rhodes, and my first year, we were doing our final exam, and we had to do a drawing. And actually, they wanted us, the brief was to do it in charcoal or black and white. And I was struggling, and I was doing this still life of a big fluffy chair. And by the end of the year, and he was an incredible lecturer, George, he said to me, I know you actually can't see in black and white. Do this in color. Just put down color. And I literally did, really boldly. I would just like, there was a green area, a pink area, a little bit of a brown, there was a yellow for highlight. I just saw in color. I put it down really quickly, and I had a beginning and of an image. And I work, you know, that's what I do. So I work like that, and I see shapes according to colors. So it just made it so much easier for me to then put down the color and then get the shape. Interestingly enough, as I'm saying this, I actually now with yoga, I see shapes all the time, geometric shapes all the time. And that is a whole different conversation, which we'll have later on, maybe next year, and I'll chat about yoga and how I read yoga. how I read bodies. So I knew that I needed to have color. Color was like a reading for me. It made me feel safe. It helped me understand things. I could think of a color and get an impression straight away with it of how it works. So I want to read you something just in terms of Aurasoma, their description of color, and it's quite beautiful, and it's the science of it when they go into it. So Aurasoma, to briefly, is the universal power and reading of color. So if you think of various colors, there's such symbology to it. If you think of red, often, so stop signs, danger signs are red. If you think of blue, what's the first image that often comes to mind? It could be the sky, and there's something quite calming about it. When you think of the sun, you think yellow. So colors draw images straight away. They're universal sort of symbology to colors. And Aurasoma looked at how colors are related to our chakra systems, which are energy centers in the body, from your base chakra right through to the crown chakra. And I have some images that I'll show you in a moment. And with all of those colors, the colors are related to various body parts. So for example, your base chakra is the lower part of the body, from the sexual organs down to the legs. It's red. It's about blood flow. It's about tribal connection, family connection, groundedness on earth, living in a physical manifestation on earth. And before I go into the description of the various colors, the symbology and everything, I wanted to read you just from the scientific perspective in terms of Aurasoma. So Aurasoma, I keep on delaying myself before I read this. Aurasoma works with the colors, works with the relationship to the chakra systems and the meanings of them on a physical, mental, emotional, and energetic level. So when you go to an Aurasoma practitioner, they have these color bottles. So it was kind of a science that was started by an English lady many years ago. I think it was in the 60s. And it's a combination of the oil sits on top, and so it's the Aurasoma oil, oils and the tinctures made up of a combination of 49 different herbs and flowers. Water was used from a source that had quite a high vibration, where it was like sacred sort of energy points where she was. And it was used for healing on various parts of the body. I didn't choose to practice Aurasoma and use the oils, even though they're beautiful. For me, what resonated was the power of color. I've always used it as an artist, and it's something that the minute I think about a color, there's a lot of information that I get from it. And it's pretty universal, which I really love. The only time it wouldn't be is if you're colorblind. So when they speak about it in terms of Aurasoma, from a scientific perspective, the order in which the colors appear says something of their different natures. So this is talking about the chakra system. So you have 7 chakras from the base up to the crown of the head. Red is the first to emerge from the infrared end of the spectrum. It has the longest wavelength and the slowest frequency of all the colors. It can be compared to a large surfing waves rolling in from the ocean. They don't come in so fast, but when they come in, they bring a lot of power with them. Red is the most energizing and warming of all colors. Violet, which is at the end of the last chakra, is the last of the visible colors. So when you look at a rainbow, it also refers to that. before the energy moves into ultraviolet and beyond, has the shortest wavelength and the highest frequency. That's why it's part of the crown chakra. It may be compared to the smallest and most gentle of the waves lapping against the edge of the shore. Violet is the most soothing and cooling of the colors. So we're going to go through, I'm going to take you through the colors as we go through. Those of you that don't know and aren't familiar with chakras, they are Hindi energy points based in various parts of the body, starting from and it would usually go in a line all the way up from your pubis up to the crown of your head. So I'm going to just share with you guys a screen quickly so that you can just start seeing where it is. I'm going to close this down and open this up. Okay. So here you can see on the screen, Susie and Gabs, I can see you quite clearly. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen nicely? Good. Okay, perfect. So the bottom of the body is the base chakra from your feet up to your pubic area. Then it moves to the sacrum where there's orange, moves to the solar plexus, which is yellow, up towards the green area, which is the heart chakra. Blue, well, here is turquoise, which I mean, all of them relate to the throat and the heart. The throat area, when it's just plain blue, is communication area. And then the violet is, I mean, it's the whole facial area, but it's actually the third eye. Accurately, it's the third eye, so it's intuition. And then the top of it is magenta, which is kind of soul star. It's kind of it's regarded as a Christ consciousness color, divinity in the small things. I find that quite beautiful. So that gives us an idea there. I'm going to move on to the next image that I have for you guys, which is this color wheel. So the color wheel here is made up of, I mean, as an artist as well, you know, you have your primary colors, and from your primary you have tertiary colors. So we have red, the base chakra, so red, energy, passion and grounding. Sacrum is the orange, a solar plexus is yellow, green is the heart, blue is communication, and then in between, and then violet is the third eye, and magenta is your crown. And in between each of these colors, you'll see there's coral, there's gold, there's olive, there's turquoise, and there's royal blue. So this is the spectrum of the chakras and the colors that make up the chakra points. And just for interest purposes, this is an image of all the color bottles. So I'm going to tonight also take a couple of examples. Some of you might have worked out your numbers, and then I can give you a little reading on the numbers. So when you go to an Aurasoma practitioner, you would choose 4 colors. It will be, the first one is your soul one, the second one the here and now, the third your challenge bottle, and the fourth the potential of where it's going. What I do with it is, so I showed all of you your numbers. I showed you, and when Dom came on and she did the numerology, she spoke about numbers as well. So I'm going to go back quickly and just show you these numbers. So here, those of you who didn't get my WhatsApp, you can just take a little screenshot of the numbers. So from 1 through to 9 and all the letters that fall underneath it. And what one can do is you tally up. So say, for example, your name is Lisa. So it's L-I-S-A. So you find the L, it's under 3. You tally up your consonants numbers, your soul vowel numbers, and then put those together and you get your potential number. So I'm going to go back. Yes.
Is it the name that you're born with, or the name that you call yourself?
So it's really interesting to do both, and it's a good question. You can, in that scenario, I'd actually do both, and it's quite interesting to do the numbers that the name that you're comfortable with. So if you worked out both, and they often correlate, it's quite interesting to see. So if you work out both and then tell me what those numbers are, we can look them up and what bottles they are, and then I can give you a reading on that. I did that for a friend and it was incredibly insightful. It gave a lot of information of where she was and where she then was at the time of a reading, and she had changed her name, not actually through marriage, just decided to change it. So here is a quick look again at the bottles. And it was interesting. These are created by the combination of plants and herbs. So they don't go, oh, we want to make a purple bottle. They would take the different plants and herbs and they were working with the combination of 49 plants and herbs of each one. And that combination would actually give birth to these colors, which was amazing, amazing, amazing. So when I finished the course, I think there are 100. So there were only 100 that had been born since then, and I did it many years ago. I think there are about 20 that have been born since then. So I'm going to close this down and then press stop share. So going through the colors, basically I'm just going to give you a rundown of the various meanings of it. So when you get to red is the base chakra. It's, like I said, the lower part of the body. It's about grounding, and remembering one thing as well. Colors have a positive charge, and I wouldn't say negative. I hate using that word negative. They just have a challenge, because depending on the position of where they are in a reading, A, and B, if you've ever had days where you go, oh, I can't go anywhere near that color. I don't want to wear pink, or I'm thinking yellow is vile. There's something happening because there is a resonance. So if everything is made up of energy, so is color. Color comes from nature. Look at plants, look at anything outside. And so exactly what it said in the description, just from a science point of view, various colors, red having the strongest vibration, it comes right through, violet having not a weaker, but a softer vibration. There's an intensity in it, so we don't actually see it as powerfully coming through. So red deals with the lower part of the body. When you do a reading, there's an emotional reading, there's a physical, there's a mental and energetic. So the first thing you would think of in terms of red is, when it's in its positive, is its passion, energy, lots of vibration. Fire has red, so there's a lot of life breathing through it. On its challenge side, passion can be anger as well. Physically, you're talking about the lower part of the body. You're talking about grounding your legs, being able to stand on your own 2 feet. Emotionally, we've dealt with sort of passion on the one side or anger on the other. Mentally, fast thinking, fiery, strong, sharp tongue, and it's all about the bloodline. It's the bloodline, red linking to the bloodline. So as an artist and on that color wheel, they're also complementary colors. So the complementary color, when you're sitting on that color wheel, the color sitting opposite red is green, and green is the heart chakra. So they can complement each other. If there's a weakness in the base chakra, it would be very beneficial to work with the green color. And green is balance, green is discernment, green physically is being in nature. It's balanced health, putting nature in your body, so putting green vegetables in your body. So there's an opposition that we work with as well. Going through and moving up to the sacrum. So the sacrum, and remember, it's the whole band of the body. You know, it would be sort of from the belly button region and all around to the lower back. So how many of you have ever had lower back issues? Yep. And me too. And I had a very serious back issue many years ago. And yes, it did happen because I had a bit of an accident. I was working on set. I had been knocked over with a piece of rosewood. I landed up taking rest for a few days, continued working, slipped a disc. And that gave me so much pain for months and months. I persevered. Eventually, I landed up having an operation. Long story short, I'll get to the point, I promise you. And lying on my back for 4 months because I couldn't move, I was confronted with, like, what am I going to do if I can't move my body, because my work was so reliant on it. So it was all about the second chakra. It was about a couple of things. It was about asking for help. It was about me understanding my mother, and my mother had back issues my whole life, and I really didn't understand or was compassionate enough about it. And it gave me such a good understanding of compassion and surrender. And I speak about that because orange in its challenge form is about abuse. Often there can be eating disorders in it. But orange, one can just come through having a lot of abusive situations, maybe meeting abusive people, maybe a childhood that was abusive, which was true to form with mine. But orange is also in its positive charge, vibrancy, ecstasy. It's also, it's the Buddhist part of the Buddhist color is orange, renunciation, taking vows, moving into work of service. And as I say that, moving into work of service, the complementary color of orange is purple, which is the third eye. And that is work of service. So they link so beautifully. So working on dealing with the sacrum and dealing with areas of abuse, or if that's in your challenge area. And the interesting thing is, the reading that I'm going to do with you guys, if you're interested, or that I do is looking at the name and working out your color bottle. So my color bottle, my karmic color bottle is orange. I have no hidden colors in between. It's kind of quite unusual, but my soul bottle, my karmic bottle, my potential bottle are all solid colors. And my karmic bottle is an orange bottle. And I sit here, and I did this Aurasoma many years ago, fascinated by it, and was a painter full-time for nearly 2 decades. I now do work of service. Everything for me is about doing work of service. This is work of service, teaching yoga. And I couldn't think of anything better. It's so important to me to share, and having, even gone through cancer, it was the biggest blessing, so that I could do and understand how to translate this work of service. So the orange has been healed for me, I feel. and I can work with the best part of the orange now. It's no longer in its challenge charge because I brought the purple in. So one can see there's so much information when I say purple, but it simplifies it quite nicely. So moving on to yellow, which is the solar plexus. So yellow pretty much would be like from your belly button up towards your rib cage and around here. There's a lot more information, but for me, these were the essences of what the colors always spoke to me about. Yellow is in its positive state. It's new beginnings. It's harvest. So if red is about communication and connection with your tribe, your culture, orange is your communication and your connection with others, with relationship, you within relationship. Yellow is you as an individual and your relationship with you and the world. It's about yellow is the color of of study, of studying, of learning, as opposed to olive is the color of wisdom, gold is the color of wisdom, magenta is the color of like from above. It gets translated, so sort of wisdom from the other side, from the ethereal side. So yellow in its and then looking at all these areas, so the yellow is livery, isn't it? It's sitting in the liver area. It's bile. When you're having a challenge with yellow, or yellow comes into your challenge area, it's about finding your place in the world, finding your connection with your self-esteem. Really, really important. Yellow is self-esteem. Not being adverse to change, not sitting in toxicity, because the liver will be quite full of bile if it's in its challenge. And the opposition of the complementary color of yellow is, if I look at the chart, I think it's blue. Yes, it's blue. I'm going to just look at the chart quickly. Let me just see. So when you look at it, so the one that's sitting opposite is orange, actually. I feel like blue would also help. So yellow and purple, and yellow and blue. So blue is communication. So to be able to communicate through these issues of uncertainty and challenges, finding one's voice. And then connecting yellow to your third eye, to kind of spirituality as well. Would also just sink in, because it's how individual will meets divine will. That was kind of the mantra for yellow. Moving on to the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is green. Green in its positive is about balance. It's about connecting to nature. It's about, that pretty much covers it. In its negative charge, it's green with envy. There's so many sayings we don't even realize, like, I'm feeling blue, so I'm feeling sad and depressed. He's red with fire, or green is, I remember they gave a description of green, of jealousy being, instead of jealousy, envy, being wanting to be where somebody else is, desiring to be where somebody else is, or desiring to be in a situation that somebody else is in, that you're not. Which is such a better way to see it, because we all have that at times. I mean, it's so human that. And you know, interesting, I remember also, you know, knowing a little bit about the chakras and whatever, but, you know, green being the heart, you kind of think, oh, wouldn't it have been pink? But the heart needs balance. You know, when the heart is full, you actually need, there's balance that happens. You connect to nature, and we come from nature. So the best and happiest place to be, where love really can fulfill you on a energetic level, is in the green, to be, you know, amongst, in nature as much as possible. So that often combats a lot of the issues, you know, of the chakras that where they're sitting in this challenge pose. Moving on to the throat chakra, blue, and you know, in amongst it, you'll see the bottles have, like, there's a royal blue, there's a turquoise, and then there's base blue. So, you know, just talking about the blue chakra, it's about communication. In its most positive charge, being able to speak easily, freely, find your voice. Blues also, you know, look at the uniform colors. Blue's the color of authority, about leadership. A lot of uniforms were often in blue. So authority, being able to be comfortable standing alone, being able to find your voice, being able to lead. You know, as a leader, you aren't always surrounded by, yeah, it's different to community. I feel like, you know, if you bring blue and orange together, orange brings community together, because, you know, orange working in its most positive charge is you, your connection with you and community, you and the world, and work of service. In its negative, well, in its challenge, blue is struggling to find your voice, not being heard. It also covers, you know, it's also depression, feeling blue. Moving on from that, the third eye is purple. So purple is your, purple is made up of red and blue in equal parts, actually. So often the saying is like, as above, so below. So it's starting to merge the communication between the sky and the earth. You know, blue representing the sky, red sort of the earth and the planet. So purple brings that together, but tapping into the wisdom of that is where it sits in the chakra system. It's the third eye, it's intuition, it's insight, it's connecting your physical world, the red, to your divine world. When it's a challenge, in a challenge position, purple can be depression, deep depression, and really struggling with understanding how to combine, you know, integrate spirituality and your life, you know, and the physicality of life on earth. Magenta then is, and there's a lovely little sort of science exercise. If you take a prism, clear prism, we did this, and you put a piece of paper and you see the light shine through. There are only two colors that come, you know, when as an artist you think, you know, you look at the color wheel and there are three primary colors. But when you do this little experiment, there are only two colors that come through. They're not the primary colors, they're magenta and yellow. And magenta is the color of divinity in the small, in the small things. It's Christ consciousness color. It's a color that brings in wisdom from other lifetimes, from the ethereal metaphysical world. And you know, we're not just physical beings. We are energy. We made up, even when you break it down in science, we made up of atoms and cells. You know, we vibrating at a certain frequency, and the faster we vibrate, and then it turns into matter. So we are vibrations. We resonating all the time. So especially in this time, oh, there she flares off, I can feel myself going the opposite direction. But keep your vibration high, you know, like work at keeping yourself in a higher vibration. And what does that mean? You know, keep your energy up, keep yourself positive, notice the things that aren't doing so well and change those, or look to seek ways of getting, you know, raising the vibration. And so color for me was something that I used often to feel good. You know, one of the things when one's feeling lousy, I've just learned, like, that's when I make the most effort. Put on something colorful, you know, put flowers in the house. I would, you know, I painted. One of the reasons for that was just, it really would lift my spirits. So that covers, you know, briefly, because there's so much to speak about in terms of color, that covers it. There are a couple of like extra things that, you know, they don't do a lot of the metallic colors, but silver is one of those colors that, you know, if you think of the association to silver, it's coat of arms, so it's a protection color. I remember the teacher saying, you know, look at all the aeroplanes, all the things that need protection or work in service is often silver. So it's a lovely sort of color that I use and I visualize when I feel like I'm going into a situation that I might feel uncomfortable, but a lovely bright silver. Gold is a color of wisdom, and it's considered the teacher color. And then what I wanted to share with you is, let's see, is the numerology aspect of it. Dami, who's in the house tonight, did 2 amazing talks on numerology, and it was something that I could really tap into, because I loved the Aurasoma. The bottles were really beautiful, but I knew that I was never really going to buy and get a set of my own bottles, even though they had like a deep resonation with me. You know, what I did was the chemistry of working with paint, working with color when I was in film, and I love and adore mixing color. Like, I just love that process. And we would mix all our own colors. We would have all the different pigments and all the base material, and you would look at a swatch and be told to mix up. And that process for me was just magical. And then we did it with chemicals as well. So I kept that, and using people's names through the numerology, figuring out what your numbers are, that was something where I could share and offer that. It's not something I can give anybody a reading. It's not something that I do as for a living or anything. I've just given many readings over the years because I always worked with color. But it was just something I wanted to really share with you guys, because it's so relatable. It's easy. It can give you a whole bunch of like, I'm having like a really hard blue day. What would make me feel better? And sometimes putting that color on, it might bring up these blue issues, and then be aware of it. Or putting on a color that will just lift your spirits has as much power to it. So what I thought I'd do, which is kind of a fun thing, is, and I'm just going to just ask Kath again. So anybody who has worked out their bottles and would like me to just give a little bit of a reading on it, I'm going to ask you guys to unmute yourselves if you would like to, and then I'm going to, Kath gave me her numbers. Would you like sort of a little brief reading, Kath, or do you want it privately?
No, you can do it.
Okay, cool. So I see, Lisa, you have written down. So remember, please remember, work out your vowels and what your vowels tally up to. So I'm just going to show you, for example. So I've written down, and I don't know if you can see. So I've got Catherine and Price. So I've worked what her consonants, what her vowels came to altogether was 35. Her consonants, when I tallied it up, was 55 and potential 90. So the first one is the soul one. The soul is the colors that you come in with. Cats is pink and violet. I'm going to show you, let me get to it. And it's number 35. Let's just see. It's a beautiful. So here we go. There we go. So that's her soul one. Um, I love it. The first thing it says is kindness. And Kath is a very dear friend of mine, and that's like probably the best adjective I could use um, to describe Kath. And for me, it's the best quality to have. You know, what did Buddha say? It doesn't follow any religion but kindness. So um, it's service with unconditional love and love from above. So I just always read the first line of what they say in the book, and then I give an intuitive sort of reading, knowing colors. So the color on top is pink. The color on top is consciousness, and the color below is subconscious. So when you're not always aware of it, when you do a reading and when it's the soul bottle, these are the qualities, the best qualities that you come in, that your soul is coming in from other lifetimes. I'm going to quickly just mute some people just in case. I'm going to keep Kath's open. Um, so pink is, so with Aurasoma, when the colors go lighter, so red being passion and, you know, physical love, when the colors go lighter, it's like getting divine light through it, sort of God's light through it, or just light, you know, if that makes one uncomfortable. But a divinity, sort of it actually intensifies the power of that color, even though it hasn't come down to the earthly being as forceful. So it's not the big wave, it's the small lapping waves. The frequency is higher, the color is softer. So it's about unconditional love. It's about understanding love from divinity. It's been beautifully balanced with work of service. So this bottle, this soul, you know, comes through with understanding work of service, understanding transformation, understanding we're not limited by our physicality, and that love is such a huge thing. It's so much bigger than the limitations that one, you know, that we put on it in a physical manifestation. So your foundation is really, really good of understanding work of service. It's something you've done, and you know the interesting thing, and you know I'm obviously I'm going to be able to give more detail when I know somebody more. This to me is exactly what Kath does. You do work of service all the time, everything. It's so in your nature, and because that's your soul colors, it's so true when you get your full birth name. It's really interesting when you do your full birth name, and then like Gabby had said earlier on, and then you've changed it, or your chosen name, just to see what's sitting there with it. So someone who brings spirituality, with them into this world, with a lot of love, with unconditional love, knowing work of service, and there's a lot of transformation and wisdom there, an innate teacher that comes through. The second color, the second bottle, is the Karmic bottle, which is 55. I'm going to quickly just show you what 55 looks like. It is clear and red. Also quite gorgeous. So when it sits in the consonant area, it is the Karmic bottle. It's the challenges that could come through. Clear is a color that is made up of all the colors with immense light coming through, so you can't define the light. So if you think of bright, sharp light, it's been so sharpened by light that it's got all the colors in it, but you can't see it. So that's how they describe the clear. And then the red is the base chakra. So there's karmic challenges could be at times of clear, the consciousness of confusion. So clear, when it's in its positive, is the path is clear, all is available. When clear is in its challenge, there are things that are sometimes confusing. There's so many possibilities that actually that can be quite confusing. One has to and there's an ungroundedness then to the clear. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. It's like being in a misty room, in a misty forest. It's you're not sure where the boundaries are. So it speaks about boundaries, which is quite interesting, because then red is also a boundary color. It's about stabilizing, finding your feet on the ground, finding them and then losing them, or feeling unstable. And again, then I would refer back to that soul bottle of this, this comes through with you. And maybe because that comes through as a challenge bottle, because the work that you've always done is a largely ethereal as well. So there is an ethereal, mystical quality to it. So sometimes earth-driven mundanity can be quite challenging. When you read here, it says, also could be sometimes suffering to find new energy within, bringing into the light the energy that lies within, reveals the potential and accepting who you are, and yet a sense of detachment or watchfulness. So it's looking at base chakra issues, looking at clearing the confusion into clarity. I think that covers a lot of it. And then, always feel free to ask more questions. And then the potential one is quite magnificent. It is 90, and 90 is gold and deep magenta. So that's what it looks like. So this potential one is when you overcome your challenge bottle, you reach your potential. And gold and deep magenta, gold is deep healing, ancient wisdom. Gold is the teacher's bottle, and Kath is a natural teacher. Deep magenta is sort of a deep connection with divinity, is again about teacher of sort of higher power, teacher of bringing wisdom in from ethereal, more holistic nature. So to bring those two together, they would be you know, a teacher of divinity, you know, to a degree, and you know, using your, so what it speaks, what it reflects is using your divinity, using your belief in source, your belief in something beyond the physical realm, to deal with physicality, to deal with our purpose, to deal with having a sense of feeling like we belong here on earth, because there can be that feeling sometimes when you do work of when you tap into more mystical kind of work and teachings, that there's that feeling of not feeling like you belong, and not knowing what to do, and then having the ability to do so many different things. So stay grounded and work with the teacher energy. So that, those are your bottles.
Ah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lainey. That was fascinating. I'm completely blown away by that information. I would love if you were able to, if you could take a picture of the 3 bottles with the sort of, I mean, I did try to take notes, but I would really love a picture of the 3 bottles when you've got a chance, and if you could just maybe send them to me with that. But thank you so much. That was fascinating. I definitely, I mean, I think a lot of it we've spoken about before many times, but just not linking it specifically to this. So it's absolutely profound that it's you, my friend, who knows me so well, that's actually doing it. So thank you, Bob. So
pleasure.
Grateful. Thank you.
Good. And I'll take those photographs for you. I see. Okay, so Lisa and then Yvonne. Lisa, do you have your numbers?
Yes, 20, 24, and a total of 44.
20, 24, and a total of 44. So is 20 your soul?
Correct.
Okay, so let us go and have a look. It's quite exciting because you see, so other than cats, which I did really just 10 minutes before, I haven't looked at anybody else's until now. So what will the color be? What will it be? It is going to be, ooh, lovely. So 20 is blue and pink.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's the soul bottle there. And it's a beautiful blue, this. So this is your soul bottle. So it's intuitive love, communication of unconditional love. So the top color being consciousness, bottom color it wouldn't refer to the soul bottle isn't unconscious, because your soul is fully conscious. It knows what it's, why it's come in. I'm going to just quickly close this one down. Close it. When it describes it, it is someone who has the peace to communicate their caring and love to self and others. A compassionate communicator who knows love is a great transformer. The balancing of the male and female energies within, unconditional self-acceptance through nurturing. So I'll just go into a little bit of detail with that. So pink is about nurturing. Pink is, if love is passion and physical love, pink is nurturing. It's about self-love. And if you don't get self-love right, none of us can heal. So all of us have to, and when you come in with that self-love, you're already you've got a great foundation. One of my things I had to learn was self-love. It was, and only when I got there could I actually heal my cancer. So when you have that as a foundation, it's sitting at the bottom. So it's there, it's always there. And red and blue are complementary colors. So it's, it's heaven and earth as well. So the pink is the divinity of it, understanding unconventional, unconditional love. Blue, communication, being able to be a natural leader, being able to communicate and help others communicate. So you might find that you land up, there's a ability to mediate for other people in a very gentle way. That balance of the blue and the pink gives you purple, which will allow you to tap into your intuition as well. Moving on to 24. So 24, quite interesting that the colors are so close. Let's see. Interesting. It's often that, hey? Oh, wow. Stunning. This is, I can't read upside down. Violet and turquoise.
Wow.
And it looks even prettier in my book, because I'm looking at what you're seeing there. So violet is third eye, intuition. Turquoise is turquoise. So if blue is communication, turquoise has a bit of yellow in, okay? So yellow has sort of how individual will meets with divine will, a little bit of, maybe pulling back, maybe, sort of conflict there. But turquoise speaks about creative communication. And creative communication, creativity is divinity. So the challenge there is looking at how do we bring out more creative communication or creativity? How does it meet with your divinity or spirituality or insight, or plugging into your intuition? I found when I did my color bottles, I was in my 20s, late 20s, and now it's decades later, I've overcome those. I'm like, the math is, decades later, 20 years later. So, you might find when you hear sort of the challenge one, well, yeah, that was relevant, but it's not so relevant now. When it speaks about the issues that there might be difficulties, someone who might be difficulties with communication or with feelings that are not expressed, maybe suspicious of or having difficulty in coming to terms with grief. So purple does speak about, there is grief in it because there's depression, and turquoise is tears. There's the letting go of tears, but also there's a healing that needs to happen. So there's some healing that needs to happen. Look at the soul bottle, which was pink, self-love and connection to spirituality or third eye or intuition. Overcoming that one, your karmic one, leads you to your potential one. Your potential one is 44. And when we go to 44, we have, so how interesting, how closely connected. You wrote down the numbers. Let me see. So you wrote down, the first one was, it was pink at the bottom and blue on top. And 24, what did we say 24 was? I've got so many.
Turquoise and violet.
Yeah, turquoise.
Violet and turquoise first.
Yeah. Okay, great. Good. Because now your potential one is lilac.
Oh, wow.
And pale blue.
Sure.
So you see how connected those colors are. So lilac is the deeper version of violet, and pale blue, that's where your blue comes in from your soul as well. So the lilac and pale blue, they are the heat, they going through the challenges of your karmic bottle lead you through to the beauty of your potential bottle, which is lilac flame of transmutation, blue of absolute protection. So blue, in its, when the colors are in its lightest form, there's a deeper resonance with it to source. It's further away from earth and it's higher to spiritual vibration.
Okay.
So a deep protection. It is connection with your divinity and how to use it, and it completes a journey. That's what I'm getting. There's a completion of a journey. It speaks to me and tells me that there's like a huge, to get here, there's quite a huge transformation that has happened in this lifetime. Like it's been big journeys, big challenges, but it's because you had a really good soul, you have the foundation, you have the resources. So even if the challenges are still cropping up, there's enough support within you and around you ethereally to know that you can reach this potential and that it feels like it's quite close. So
Absolutely amazing.
cool. Good.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So if you want as well, I will send you I think, do me a favor, send me a WhatsApp, and then just I'll send you also photographs of your bottles and the page. So
Thank you so much.
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank
Pleasure.
you.
So much fun for me. Okay, and then who gave me numbers? Yvonne. Okay, so Yvonne is, let me just write it down, is Yvonne, 28 is the soul.
Yes, that's right.
52 is the consonants, and 80. So 28, 28, 28, 28. And the winner is, okay, red and green. So it's nice and grounding. Let's see. Red and green over there. Okay, so very, very powerful, very, I feel like there's a warrior, like powerful warrior. Stand your ground, own your power. So energy to find one's own space, pioneering, you see, it's a pioneering color. So this comes in as your soul bottle. When it comes in as your soul bottle, it's all the positive, powerful elements of those colors. 28. So green, about balance, about empowerment, about connection with spirit, and nature. Red, red and green are opposition colors, but when they come into a soul, when they come into a soul bottle connection, they have an equal vibration. They're both very, very strong. So if you had like a wall of red and green, they would, they equally have power. And now they're standing together. So you've got like such a powerful force that has come in and held you. So there's a feeling, I could be, but whatever your situation is coming in onto this earth, or how life has dealt its variables to you, know that your soul bottle, your soul connection and energies are very strong, and to tap into those. Sometimes we get a little bit distracted thinking this earthly energy, or just the three-dimensionality of physicality is where all our support lies, but our support lies in much higher sort of vibrations. So a bottle with a lot of power and a lot of connection. And I wish people wouldn't send me messages while I'm speaking. Sorry. Okay, so someone who has found the space, and remember green is space, to channel the energy. So this is what you came in with. Someone who is able to trust their intuition, being true to yourself, and bring others more joy and happiness. So that's the soul bottle. Very powerful, like stand your ground, arrived on earth well. Moving on to the challenge, the karmic bottle 52. 52 is, oh, pale pink, interesting. Okay, so that's the challenge one. So there's no hidden color here. That's an interesting thing to remember with these bottles. You know, if you have a bottle that is, say, yellow and then blue at the bottom, there would be a hidden green. But when you have a solid color, pale pink, so pale pink means unconditional love. So there might be challenges with self-love, self-acceptance, love of, when there's light in these colors, it's love that comes from source. It's a more sort of spiritual love, you know, whatever that connection is for you, or maybe not. So it speaks about sort of looking after yourself, making sure, wondering, are you allowing yourself to be first, or is everybody else before you? So here it will be, it could be critical, open to emotional blackmail. It doesn't mean all of these things are are relevant, but they are attributes of the color. Holding on to anger or resentment or frustration in an intense form, not feeling fulfilled within sort of love. I would say definitely looking at sort of self-nurture, and sometimes, you know, because red is the color of activity, there could be a feeling at times when one gets stuck and is not able to be active, gets sedentary with frustration. So see if any of those resonate. But the potential to, you know, spiritual growth through the ability to love in the pink. So it's not the obvious love, you know, red is the obvious, it's the unobvious, you know, and what are the areas there? The thing that would help is, again, just going into nature. The green will complement that pink. Okay, moving on to, once that is overcome, and you know, the main point, it's some, you know, someone where there is perspective, there is intuitive person, someone who's able to, you know, all these qualities are sitting within, they just need to come out. And then moving into potential, number 80. Oh, and it's, you know, it's so on track, so it's all connected. So that's red and pink.
Oh, pink.
Yeah. So the energy to love and release and let go. Someone who has unconditional love, warmth, caring, the energy to bring these forth, an awakening. So it's a bottle of awakening. It's got red on top. There's an awareness. I'm alive. I'm taking that energy, and you know, I can bring through the unconditional love and bring through nurturing and looking after myself. And it isn't selfish. It's necessary. So
Thanks, Elaine.
pleasure. So sometimes they resonate, and hopefully there's more that does than don't. But
It doesn't.
Mm. Okay, so Mela, hi, honey. Okay, Val is 23. So I think that might be, let's do this one as the last one, and then individuals, I'm going to open it up for people to ask questions, even if it's just one color, one bottle, one number. Okay, so Val 1, 23, 23, 23 is, rose, pink, and pink. How beautiful, Mila. Rose, pink, and pink. So this is wisdom and understanding to find love within, unconditional love, work of service. So this is your soul bottle. You came in with this. It would say to me that you are meant to do work of service. You are meant to do work that is gently selfless. And in you feeling the experience of love unconditionally, that will really feed your soul. The qualities of it, someone who, so you're a soul where someone who gives love, warmth, and compassion. It's a bottle of compassion, to accept who you are and find inspiration, infinite wisdom within, and to help others shed literally love and light, because it's two colors that are, and rose pink has a little bit of coral in, so there's a lot of like wisdom, ancient wisdom that comes through. What is your second consonant is 32, exactly reversed. Interesting. Okay, royal blue and gold. I think, Mike, that was your soul one as well. So that is there. Where's Mila? Okay, cool. So this is in your challenge though. So when it's in your challenge, a message of good things to come. So it's royal blue is the consciousness, gold below. Gold is a color of in its positive, it's a wisdom and teacher's color. In its challenge, it's challenges authority, conventionality. The royal blue is sort of expression of communication and depths of communication. So tapping into your intuition, set teachings, whether that's in a religious setting, whether it's a cultural setting, or whether it's in a studying manner, and seeing how you can overcome that and find your own royal blue leader, find the voice that you want to hear, be the teacher that you are, instead of negating and or maybe having had sort of challenging circumstances with either authority or sort of teaching circumstances. Fears and anxieties that someone holds within that leads to difficulties in communication, can suffer from bitterness, disillusionment, and or intense jealousy. I'm not feeling that in that color bottle with you necessarily. I sometimes also just get an intuitive energy when I read as well. So it is sort of, I feel there's a like holding back of going into intuition, spirituality, and because it might have been governed by preconceived ideas or that didn't resonate with you, but finding your own wisdom in spirituality and whatever that means to you, whatever spirituality means to you. And moving on to number 80, the potential. Okay, beautiful. So similar to Yvonne's, red and pink. And again, so this is energy to love, release, and let
Sorry,
go.
was it not 55?
Oh, I was reading the same.
Did I work it,
So you're right.
did I work it wrong?
The same one.
Oh.
55. You're right. Thank you for that. Okay, so that one is, so it's interesting. That was Kath is still in the house. That was Kath's challenge bottle. This one in its positive is, it's called the Christ. Interesting. Light and inspiration enters the physical world. I think that's quite beautiful. So it's the someone who has come through suffering to find new energy within, bringing into the light the energy that lies within, reveals the potential and accepting who you are, yet with a sense of detachment and watchfulness. So there is clarity in the questions that you have asked. So coming through your challenge bottle, you find clarity, you are grounded, you are comfortable being on earth. Red is about being on earth, being grounded, being connected to family and family ties. But with a comfortable detachment, you don't have to be overly connected. It's a connection of being, I'm comfortable being earthed, being on planet Earth. I see the wisdom, I can feel the love, I can feel supported. And the thing is, they're not from others or other circumstances or other people. It's from the work you've done. It's from overcoming the challenges you've overcome, and feeling very grounded and comfortable in this physical world. And that's yours. And unmute yourself.
Sorry, I kept doing that where I was muting and unmuting because my kitty cat was making such a noise in the background. I didn't want everybody to hear him meowing. So I was probably speaking quite a bit that you didn't hear. But anyway.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry. No, all good. Yeah, it made a lot of sense to me, actually.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Great. So if you want those, and if you want the photos of those color bottles, you just send me a WhatsApp and then I'll send it to you, and then I'll remember that. Just take down your numbers. I haven't got them down, but take down the numbers and then send them to me, and I can do it for you. Great. So,
thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure. So I'm going to open up the house. I know it's already, if any of you want to, I know it's getting a bit late. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still in my kitchen. If anybody wants to ask any questions or make any comments, pleasure, McKelly and Marcy. Thanks for joining. Okay, cool. So is there anybody else that wants to ask me any questions? Make any comments? Let's see. I'm just seeing lovely, friendly faces.
I've got a question, Lainey.
Yes.
So when you say the challenge bottle, which is the middle bottle, right?
Yeah.
So when you say the challenge bottle, is it kind of the work you need to do currently, or the work you need to do to reach your potential?
Yeah. So it would be the karmic challenges of this life. So, they could take the whole lifetime, they could take a couple of decades, you know. You start feeling when you get to your potential bottle, you can feel the energy of those, you know, because things shift so dramatically in your life.
And then is the potential bottle almost like a clue as to how to overcome the challenges?
It could be, but your soul bottle gives you the characteristics to work with, because that's your, you know, you've already got that there. The potential, like you said, could be the clue of how to get there, but you've got the resources. Your tools are your soul bottle tools.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. And okay, so if anybody is interested in anything more and they want to get hold of me personally, yeah, feel free. It's a fun thing. I really love the reading of colors. I love using color all the time. So I'm available for anybody who wants to get hold of me. There are 2 new people in the house that I'm really pleased joined. One is Tato, and the other one is Robin. Both of these lovely ladies are going to be joining us in the next within the next month. So Robin is going to be on in 2 weeks' time, and we're going to have an incredible conversation about nutrition and the medicine of nutrition. And Tato has a phenomenal like warrior woman of note cancer story of inspiration beyond, just incredible, beautiful. So please join me in 2 weeks' time, and we've only got a couple more sessions. First week of December is going to be the last one for this year, and it's going to be about you guys coming in, having a chat. There'll be 6 of us just having a very easy, fun end of the year chat. Speaking about the issues we liked, conversations we enjoyed, and then I will take a break for a month and come back next year. So please don't, keep on coming back. It's just 3 more to go before the end of the year. Can you believe the year's going by so quickly? But thank you for joining me tonight, everybody. And
Thank you.
oh, pleasure. Thanks for the inspiration, Kath and Dom. They helped me. Oh, pleasure, Mara. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the long weekend, everybody.